So let's start. So good evening, everybody. My name is Pratyush Salreja, and I'm one of the TAs in this course, Programming Data Structures and Algorithms using Python. And this is the week six. So for this week six, professor has covered the following topics. One was backtracking, then global scope and nested functions, then generating permutations, sets, stacks, queues, priority queue, and heaps. So can anybody quickly tell me what stack is and what queue is?
Stacks follow last in first out order and the queues follow first in first out.
Okay, can you give me one example of each?
We can take a stack of books. In stack of books, we can only add books on top of the stack. We can't pull the book out from the bottom of the stack. If we pull means all the books will fall down.
Okay.
And if we take a queue means we can go for a cinema theater and there will be queue. The first one goes in the line will get the ticket first and last one get the ticket last.
Okay, sure. So for today's lecture, we'll be covering the programs on stacks and queues. So we'll start with the first program, which is to reverse a string using stack. So last time we have seen this example in I guess week 2 or week 3, wherein to reverse the string we use recursion. For this we will be using stack. So can anybody quickly tell me what can be the logic for this? How can we reverse a string using a stack?
Inserting them one after the other and then retrieving it. It will be reversed.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean this is the very basic program that we will be doing today. So for that, we will be defining one function and we will be passing string as the input to this function. And we have to use stack in this problem. So we will be creating an empty stack. And initially, what we are going to do, we will insert the characters of the string into the stack. So for that, what we need to do, we can use for I in range length of str. And when this is in place, then we can use stack dot append. And in append, we can enter the characters one by one. And after this is done, we can create a variable named reverse string which will store the reverse of this particular string, particular input string. Here, what we will do, we will again traverse to the length of str, and then we will check first thing first. So we will check if length of stack is not equal to 0. If this is true, then only we will pop the element from the stack. So to pop the element from the stack, what is the method name? What is the function name?
Pop. Pop.
Okay. This will pop the topmost element in the stack. And then when this is done, we will simply return reverse of str, which will return the reverse string. First, we will try running this, and then I'll explain the logic. Now, to print this, what we will do, we will call reverse of string and then pass input as A, B, C, D, E, for example. And when this is done, you can see the reverse of the string is printed in the output. So now let's go line by line to the solution. So for the first case, what we are doing, we are creating an empty stack on line number 2. And from line number 3 and 4, what we are doing, we are simply pushing the characters one by one inside the empty stack. And when this is done, we are creating a reverse of string as the blank string. And then we are checking if length of stack, that is length of this variable, is not equal to 0. If this is not 0, then we will do reverse of string equal to reverse of string. In the initial phase, for the first iteration, it is blank plus we are doing stack.pop. So when we are using stack.pop, it will pop the topmost element from the stack, that is E. So reverse will be reverse str will be E at this moment. For the second iteration, we will so this is popped from the stack. So for the second iteration, what we will do, reverse str plus again stack.pop. So in this case, rev str will be ed. Similarly, for other three iterations, one characters will be popped from the stack and will be concatenated with this rev str. So that's why we are getting edcba as the output. So is this program clear, or are there any doubts with this?
Sir, the first one, stack equals to empty braces of third bracket. This is similar to declaring an empty list, right?
Yes, this is similar to declaring an empty list. Yes.
So will it be treated as a stack or a list? How will it know?
So basically in Python, when we declare a stack, so there is a class name stack and there is a class name queue also, but we have not
Okay.
seen classes and objects till now. So that's why we are creating a stack. That's why we are creating a list here. But when you use this pop method, it will always take the topmost element from the
Okay.
stack. Yeah.
So stack is a particular name for a stack, something like that.
You mean
To
on line number
define
two?
the yes.
So that is just the name of a list. I can use my name also, stack
Okay.
underscore Pratyush. So that is just the variable name. That is not the data structure that we are talking about. But the implementation wise, we are appending one characters, and when we are popping it out on line number 8, it is functioning as a stack.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
means last in, first out. So on line number 4, the last character to get into the stack was E from our string. And first character to get out of that stack is E only. And it is working like a stack. Last in, first out.
Okay.
Uh, excuse, ex-
Yes.
excuse me, sir. Sir, at line 7, do we need to use that if condition? I think it's
So
even if we don't use that, may be fine, right?
So what is the case there? I'll explain. So first, when you use stack equal to only one character, for example, when you use stack dot pop, you will get A as the output. Okay. But when you use it
Okay.
again, it is telling pop from empty list. That's why we are always checking if length is not equal to 0. If it is 0, then stack dot pop will return this error, index error. That's why we have to always check that stack is not empty. Only if it is not empty, then only we will do stack dot pop.
Okay, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Why did we define stack as an empty list in starting? Because already we had a string, so why couldn't we start with the string str itself and reverse it or pop it up? I mean, what was the need to define this extra list stack?
So basically we are working on this data structure stack and we are just having that string as the input. So when we want to implement a stack, we need to have an empty list. So this append will work as a push function in stack. And this pop works similar to the pop function. So in Python, when you define a stack, you need to define it using this list only. Wherein push function will be append and pop will be pop directly.
And the str is a string, right?
Yeah, str is the input string.
So basically, we are converting this string into a stack.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, does it make a difference if we are working with a string or a stack? Is this a stack?
No. So you can simply reverse a string using recursion also, using for loop from end to start also. But just to tell you how
Yes.
to implement stack, we are using it here. So the problem
Okay.
statement is
Oh,
reverse a string using a stack. That's why we have created
okay.
a stack.
Oh, actually, I joined little late, so I was
Ah,
not aware, sir.
okay. No issues.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
if length of stack not equal to 0 is there,
Yeah.
is it the efficient code length of stack? Length function is called many times, no? Is it the efficient way of writing the code?
I didn't
When you
get you.
think
Can
of
you please repeat
function,
on which line you are talking about?
line number 7.
Line number 7. Okay.
Every time it has to call the function, no length. Is the code efficient?
So you mean you want to
Is it
store
better
the...
to use a variable? Some variable I take initially, I take the length,
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
continuously I decrement the variable. Is it the better or this is better?
So what happens is, so every time the length of stack will change because we are using stack.pop. So for the initial case, it will be for A, B, C,
My
D.
question is the code efficiency I'm asking, sir? That is what I'm getting the code. Example is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an efficient code? Will it take more time, consume more time,
No, no,
or processor time?
that is just the order of one only when you check the length of anything. That is an order of one.
Suppose if I use a variable, some a variable, in that I have used length of stack, a
Okay,
length of stack one
okay,
time. Then
okay,
I decrement a continuously. Is
okay.
it better efficient? Which one is efficient code?
Both
That's my
works.
question.
So both work. So what
No,
happens?
both will work, but which is efficient? That is my question.
So the thing is, when you do A minus minus, that is again taking O of one, order of one only. For checking the
But
length
there's no
also,
function call. No, length will have function call, but
yeah,
just in a, decrementing a variable. Both are different, no?
yeah, I understood your question. So first you are
Mm.
storing A equal to length of stack. Then every
Yes.
time you are doing A minus minus, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So what happens? This A minus minus will also take order of one space, order of one time complexity. And for checking the
Mm.
length of stack also, that is also order of one only. So the
But
time
function
complexity
call
will,
will take more, no, sir. It has to implement function calls will take something different, no?
yeah, definitely.
It
But
has
I
to
mean, when we
create the
talk about,
variables once again. Those things is
yeah,
overhead is there, no?
yes, yes. When you talk about this time in time in terms of
No,
milliseconds and
time
nanoseconds,
complexity.
yeah,
Mm.
then this length of stack will definitely take more time. But when you talk in terms of time complexity, both will be order of one.
Oh, correct. Thank you, sir.
So let's move to problem number two. So for problem number two, the program is to convert prefix to infix expression. So are you aware of infix, prefix, and postfix? So I'll explain like what is infix. So when you say when there is an expression, for example, A plus B. Suppose this is the simple expression. So for prefix, what happens is it will be plus AB. For postfix, it will be AB plus. So this is the infix expression. Sorry, this is the prefix expression wherein the operator is before the operands, that is A and B. For infix, it will be A plus B. The operator will be in between the operands. So this is the prefix operation. We'll only talk about prefix here. Suppose there is another infix operation which is A plus B into C plus D. Can anybody tell me what will be the prefix of this expression?
So store operator of A plus B. So
Okay. Can you tell me step by step what will be the first step?
So first of all, we'll convert this a plus b into plus ab and c plus d into plus cd.
Okay, perfect. It will be into plus CD. So now this
Then this
is,
star will come ahead of all these
yeah. So for
expressions.
the second case, it will be star plus AB and
Plus
plus
CD.
CD. So this is the infix expression. This is the final infix expression. Sorry, final prefix expression of this infix expression written on line number 5.
So excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So can you please explain what does plus AB means?
Okay. So what happens is in infix expression there are two operands A and B, and plus is the operator. So there are different kinds of operator like plus, minus, multiply, division, and opening and closing brackets, and raised to the bar also, raised to the power. So what happens in prefix operation? Pre means operator should come in the beginning, then the operands. So whenever you give an expression, arithmetic expression to your computer will either convert it into prefix or postfix and then only solve it. Internally,
Okay.
the infix expression is converted into prefix. So now what happened for this
So
case?
the answer will be the same. The answer will be the same, but it is a different type of representation.
Yeah, different
That's it.
type of representation, yes. So for the first case,
Yes.
operator is plus, so plus will come in the beginning, then a and b will come, both the operands. For second case, first we are solving this bracket, which means prefix of this will be plus ab. Second, we are solving for this bracket, that is the prefix will be plus cd. And third, we are solving for this multiplication operator, which is in between the two operands. That's why multiplication came in the beginning, then plus ab, which was the prefix of first bracket, then plus cd, which was the prefix of second bracket. So in the similar way, we have to convert from
Sir, can
a.
you,
Yes.
sir, can we say that prefix means it is the output of A plus B?
So that is not the output, that is just another representation. So when you say 1 plus 3, your output is definitely 4. 1 plus 3 equal to 4.
Okay,
But your computer converts it into plus 1 3, that is prefix operation, or 1 3 plus, that is postfix. Post means the
okay,
operator is coming after the operands. Pre means the operator is coming before the operands. And operands are 1 and 3 in this case.
okay,
So that is a different representation of a particular infix expression.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, sir.
So now in our case, this is the operation that is given to us. So what we are trying to do, we have to convert this input into this output, that is prefix to
Sir, why
infix.
we not represent like this, sir? What is the advantage in representing as a prefix or postfix
So what happens is
to
your
compare to
computer.
infix operation?
Yeah, so infix operation is understood by humans and prefix and postfix is understood by computers. So when we talk about stack, so this is one of the very famous example in stack to convert any expression to any other expression, like prefix to infix, infix to prefix, then infix to postfix also. So computer understands only prefix and postfix. Internally it gets converted. But for human readable, everything is in infix. So whenever you write everything arithmetic expression in your code, that is by default getting converted into prefix or postfix before getting evaluated. So for this example, what we will do. So first, can you please tell me if this is clear, how to convert it into infix to prefix? Or are there any doubts with this?
No, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
here A and B are representing numeric values, right?
Yes.
So, what if the numerals are 2-digit or 3-digit numbers? How are we going to differentiate in prefix representation or postfix representations?
So you mean like
Like,
this?
yeah.
Yeah. So for this also it will be similar this way only.
So we do not need to care about that, right, sir?
No, 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 nothing. That's why I am
But
taking
sir,
example
one
of
can
A and B.
understand it like 1 and 122 are being added, or 11 or 22 are being added, isn't it, sir?
Yeah, so your question is correct actually, but this is what internally happens inside a computer, and I am not sure like how computer evaluates it. So computer converts this infix to prefix and postfix, but how to evaluate it? Like you are asking plus 1122, that means it can be 1 plus 122 also,
Yeah.
Yes.
and 112 plus 2 also.
I
Yeah.
think Saurabh was also having the same doubt, perhaps because of that he has also asked this.
Can you please repeat?
I was thinking like about the question that Saurabh must also be thinking the same problem, how to handle such kind of things. That's why he might have asked this.
Okay. Yeah, so for the thing is like this particular thing is considered as one operand, and this is another operand. So whenever it is getting converted, so by default inside computer it will be 11 plus 22 only. So
Okay, sir.
there might be use of spaces or some other characters, but for the internal implementation, I'm not sure about.
Okay.
Sir, I think this can be used, this can be done with our tree structure, and I am not sure it's a prefix or postfix. Then that can be implemented very easily. Prefix or postfix can be implemented using tree structure. So then it will be much faster, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, for this week, only stacks and queues were covered. So I just want to explain like how to solve it using stacks and queues. So that's why the programs are using stacks for this week. We can definitely go into graphs and trees also, if that will be covered for next week or next to next week.
So for negative number,
sir.
what
Yes.
for negative number, how do we represent it, sir?
You means minus a plus b like this.
Yes, sir.
What we will do, we will write our function, we'll write a Python function, and we will try to see what this gives us the output. We'll definitely give this expression as an input to our Python code.
Yes, sir. Okay,
But
sir.
like before getting the output, what do you think? What should be the output?
Minus
Plus negative AB.
Plus negative AB.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll check this. We'll write our Python function. We'll check this if this is the only output or not. So according to the
Yes.
rule, this should be the output, but we will check if we are getting the same output or not. So
Okay.
for converting prefix to infix, there is one algorithm. So that algorithm says, first what we do, suppose I'll take our example only as the input. So this is the input, for example. So the first step is we have to read this expression in reverse order. That is from right to left. And second step is, so if we are encountering any operand, if suppose operand is there like C, D, A, B. So what we do, we push it to stack. Suppose if operator is there, then what we do, pop top two elements from the stack. And after popping the two elements, suppose two elements are A1 and A2. Suppose the two elements are A1 and A2. So what we will do, A1 operator A2. Operator can be anything, plus, minus, multiply, or divide. For simplicity, we will take only these four operators as of now. So if we are encountering operator, we will pop top two elements and we will perform this operation, that is A1 operator A2. And then we have to repeat this step until and unless the stack is empty or we have reached to the end of the prefix expression. So with this, what we will do, suppose there is an empty stack. So in stack, what we are first doing, we are reading from right to left. And from right to left, suppose we are first at this D operator, D operand, sorry. So we are encountering an operand. So what we want to do, we have to push it on the stack. So first we will push D on the stack. For the second case, we are getting C. So what we will do, we will push C on the stack. For the third iteration, we are getting multiplication as the operator, but this is an operator. So if we go to this step number 3 of our algorithm, what we have to do, pop top two elements and perform these things, perform this particular operator. And then there is one more step here. After this operation is done, push the result on the stack. So now for the third case, when we are encountering this multiplication operator, so at that time what we will do, we will pop these two elements. So when we perform stack.pop, the first element that will come out of this stack will be C or D.
It will be C.
Okay. So first element is C from this stack. Second element is D. Then we have to perform C operator D. Now operator is multiplication here. So we will do C multiplied by D. And just for simplicity, we will use opening brace and closing brace also. So this is the operation that is performed. And then on line number 8, it is written push the result onto the stack. So now stack will contain this thing, C multiplied by D. Now again, we will traverse, we are reading from right to left. So the next element will be B, and B is an operand. So what we do, we push B on the stack. Then again, we are encountering A. So we will push A on the stack. Now then we are encountering this multiplication operator again. So we will perform these steps again. That will be pop two elements. That will pop A, pop B, top two elements, and perform A1 operator A2. That is A multiplied by B, because the operator that we have encountered is multiplication. So now A multiplied by B is performed, and what we have to do, we have to push it on the top of stack. When this is done, we'll again traverse our prefix expression. Now the prefix expression is the character that we are encountering is plus, and plus is an operator. So what we will do, we will take top two elements from the stack. So first element is A multiplied by B, second element is C multiplied by D, and then the operator is plus. And this is our final output. So as we can see here, it is A multiplied by B plus C multiplied by D. So this is the final output. Did you all understand this algorithm, how this is working, how we are going step by step?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And if this is clear, then only we can write the code now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Sir, I
let's,
have a doubt from myself.
yes, tell me.
Sir, the parentheses come automatically or we have to represent it, sir?
No. We will just append it. In stack operation, what we do, we use double quotes, opening brace, and then we will use the plus symbol. Let me write
Yes,
the
sir.
code and it will get more clear to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So what I'll do, I'll keep it as it is. I'll write the code here only. Define T to in, and we will be passing prefix expression as an input. So first we will again create an empty stack. Second is to maintain the length, what we will do, we will use length of prefix -1. I'll explain you step by step what I'm doing. I'm just first writing the code. So now what we are trying to do here is, first let me run the code and let me see if we are getting the output correctly or not. Okay, this is working fine. We will give our example only as the input. For this we are getting this output, which is the same as we are getting it on line number 12 in my code. So that means our function is working perfectly fine. So let me explain you what I have done here. So initially we are creating an empty stack and we are using I equal to length of prefix minus 1. That means for our case, I'll take our case only as the example. So for this, the length of prefix is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I will be 7 minus 1, that is 6. Why we are using minus 1? Because when we traverse the string, it is from 0 to length minus 1. So that's why we are at line number 6. Sorry, we are at index number 6. And why we are using 6 as the index here? Because the first step of the algorithm is to read the prefix string from right to left. That's why now we will be checking if I is greater than equal to 0. This is true. Then we will go here. We will check if is operator of that particular character. So is operator will return true if the encountered character is plus, minus, multiply or division operator. So if it is an operator, this will return true. But for the first case, as we are on index number 6, it has encountered D. So it will go to else block. And for else, what we are doing, we are simply using stack.append and directly adding that value there. And then we are doing I equal to I minus 1. So now the value of I will be 5. Again, it will check here if is operator, but for 5, it is operand. So that means again, it will do stack.append, it will enter C into the stack. Then I equal to I minus 1. Now I is equal to 4. So for 4, operator is encountered. So is operator will return true. Because on line number 25, this statement is true. And we will go here. What we will do? So in stack, as of now, the elements are D and C. So from line number 20, what we are doing, as we have encountered the multiplication operator, we are using str equal to, first we are using opening brace, then we are using stack.pop. When we do stack.pop, this C will be popped out from the stack. And then we are using prefix of I, that is prefix of 4, that is multiply operator. So that will be C into, again we are doing stack.pop, because as per our algorithm, we have to pop top 2 elements and perform this operation. After doing stack.pop, we are getting D as the popped out element. And the stack will be empty again. Then we are appending again the closing brace here. After this line number 20 is done, on line number 21, what we are doing? We are appending the string. We are pushing this string onto the stack. So now stack will contain C into D. And this similar thing is repeated for B, A, multiply and plus, these 4 characters also. So is this algorithm and problem statement clear? Is this program clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
But before closing this, what we wanted to try is this one. So we will give this as the input. We will see what output we are getting. So we are getting pop from an empty list. So here one.
Yes, sir, because two operators were not.
Yeah, because two operators are there, only two operands are there. So for that, we might need to perform some basic modifications because our algorithm works on binary operation. That is, we have to get 2 operand and 1 operator. And this minus of A is a unary operation. So some modifications need to be done to perform this thing. So is this thing clear now?
And so in this both if and else segments, I is going to be reduced by 1, so we can make it a common also, right? So
Can you please repeat?
I is going to be reduced by one number, na?
Yeah.
Whether if statement is true or else statement is true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can make it common also, na?
Yeah, we can write it once also. No issues.
Okay.
Yeah. So after if else also.
We just have to tab in.
Yeah. So we can write it one time also. Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that. Yes. Any other doubts?
Sir,
Why not use for loop? So
Can you please repeat?
why not use for loop?
Yeah, we can use for loop also. Not an issue.
So there will be no need for I minus one that.
Yeah. We can use for loop also. No issues. We can use any control flow statements.
excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So can we perform these infix and prefix operation for numerical values too, sir?
You mean
Can we
this way?
So like giving instead of giving an expressions, can we give numeric values, sir? It gives same output.
So I guess it will take one character each. So for example, like 11, 22 won't work here because that will be 4 characters, but I guess 1 and 2 should work, plus 1, 2. So this will give 1 plus 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Sir, I think this is only particularly applicable for Boolean expressions. It is just an expression, not actually a calculative kind of thing.
So there is another problem, program. So wherein an infix expression is given, and then we have to perform the arithmetic operation. For example, if plus 1, 2 is given, the output should be 3. So in that case, there is a different algorithm. So when I say 1, 1, 2, 2 is given, the output should be 33. If we can actually tell if 11 is one of the operand and 22 is one of the operand. So as of now, we are dealing only with characters.
So how can we represent that value, sir? Like plus 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, like 11, 2, 2. So for consider if the question was given an example like plus 1, 1, 2, 2. How can we calculate it, sir? We consider it like 1 plus or 1, 2, 2 or 11 plus 2, 2.
So as of now, I am not sure how to represent it. But if it is a question in exam, then you will you will get to know like what the operands are. If it is 11 or if it is only 1. So operands will be made very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, in line number 28, we can use in operator. If character in.
Yes, we can try
the
that
list
also.
of-
Yes, we can use that also. So if character in, that will be, we need to give a list only.
Yes, sir.
We will write if character in plus minus another operators also. Yes, we can do that also.
Have a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, can we also give another operator like binary operators, I mean bitwise operators like and or not, etc., etc., sir?
I didn't get you. Can you please repeat?
Sir, can we also do these infix and prefix operations using the bitwise operators like and or binary or?
Yeah, then we have to add it here only in characters. But the thing
Yes,
is,
sir.
like when we are talking about AND operation, suppose if you are talking about this 1 and 1 is equal to 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so to represent it, you can do that, but then you have to increase your character space. So in this character, as of now, we are only using plus, minus, multiply and division. Just to keep it simple and just to explain how to work with prefix and infix operations. For this example, we are only using these 4 operators only, but we can increase the operators, not an issue. There will be raised to a power also. One more operator. So is it clear?
So the same the program is same, right, sir?
Can you please repeat again? There is
Sir,
some voice in the background. I am not able to hear.
so if we use the same code for also the bitwise operator, sir,
Mm-hmm.
so
So
can we also? use these codes instead of giving the plus, minus, etc. Can we also give the bitwise operator, sir? The output will be same or not, sir?
Yeah, it will be same. So like I'm just telling that you need to increase your operator space. So here you need to define those operators also, like AND will be one of them and OR will be one of them. So I guess we represent OR using this pipe operator or double pipe, I'm not sure. So any operators here. So you just need to increase your operator space here. Or if you want to use raise to the power also, you can use that also. But you can do that, yes. You can convert it from prefix to infix.
Thank you, sir.
So now let's move to program number 3 with the stack only. So now this is again similar. So what we want to do here is we want to check for balanced parenthesis. So for the first case, you can see that there is one opening curly brace and closing curly brace. Again opening curly brace and closing curly brace. So these are matching. That means the input part is balanced. Again there is one opening round bracket and closing round bracket, and opening square bracket and closing square bracket. That means this is again balanced. So that's why we have to output yes. And for the second case, we don't have a matching case. So for example, if you can see that there is an opening curly brace, but then there is a closing square bracket.
Square.
So that means the parentheses are not balanced there. So this is the program that we just need to check if we are having balanced parentheses as the input. So this is again a very simple program. Can anybody tell me how can we solve it?
Set the matching
Yeah.
parenthesis should be the if the opening parenthesis is matching to the closing parenthesis at the top of the stack, then we can pop it.
Yeah. So now again what we will do here, just I'll write the basic function only. We will check if the expression is balanced or not. So again we will define an empty string, empty stack here. So now the algorithm is, first thing is if we are encountering any opening bracket. So if opening parenthesis, then push on stack. Second, if closing parenthesis, then pop the element and check for matching opening parenthesis. So let me write it here. So first what we are doing, suppose this is our input. This is the input expression. So now what we are doing, first we are traversing through the expression and we will first check if character in. So the same thing that somebody suggested for the last programming question, I'm using it here. If character in, suppose if it is opening round bracket, opening square bracket and opening curly brace. Just to keep it simple, we will be using only three parentheses here. If character is here, as per our algorithm step number 1, what we will do, we will just push it on the stack. For second case, else, like if that is not the character, that means if it is closing parenthesis, not the opening parenthesis, what we will do, I'll create one variable which is the top character, and to fetch the top character, what is the method? Stack dot pop. So we will now pop the topmost element just to check if we are having a matching parenthesis or not. So here we will use if case again. Let me copy this. We are checking if top character is opening brace, and if current character is closing brace, or simply what we can do,
So we can use OR operator in a single line, sir.
so we cannot use OR, we have to use AND only. If this is not equal to our character, what we will do? We will return false. For the second case also, I will just copy paste. For second case also, if opening is this and closing is not this, then return false. Third case, if opening is curly brace and closing is not a curly brace, then return false. Again, after traversing through the for loop, when this for loop is done, what we do, we check if stack is not empty. To check stack is not empty, we can directly write if stack. If stack is not empty, then we have to return false, or else we have to return true here. So now again I missed one more expression here. First we have to check if not stack, then return false. So let me first run this code and then I'll explain line by line. So this is returning true. This is also true. For our second case, it should return false. So this is returning false. So let's go to the problem statement. So what we are doing for the first case, I'll take this line number 6 as the input. So for the first case, stack is empty in the beginning, and on line number 9 we are traversing through the entire expression. So on line number 10 we are checking if the character is any opening brace. So for the first case we are getting this opening brace, opening square bracket. So then we are using stack.append, and we are appending this value on top of this stack. For the second case, we are encountering another opening brace. For the third iteration, we are encountering a curly brace. Now for the fourth iteration, we will be encountering a closing curly brace. So at that time, what we will be doing, we are going to this line, if not stack. That means if stack is empty there. So what we will do, we will return false if stack is empty. So for example, only 3 characters were mentioned. And now if stack is empty, for example, then we have to return false because there is no matching parenthesis there. But now for the other case, we are popping the character. So we are popping the top character. So when we have encountered this closing curly brace in the fourth iteration, we are popping the topmost element. That is the opening curly brace is popped out. And then we are checking if top character is equal to opening round bracket, which is not the case. And now we are checking if top character is equal to opening square bracket. This is also not the case. On line number 22 we are checking if top character is opening curly brace, so which is the case there. But now we are checking if character, that means the current character, which is the closing brace. So if it is not equal to curly brace, but for our case it is equal to curly brace, so we are not doing anything there. Why? Because for example, in our second example, which is this. So in our second example, what happens is these two elements are popped onto the stack. But when this is getting encountered, the closing square bracket, and we are checking if character is not equal to closing square bracket, then this should return false. That means the parentheses are not balanced. So for our case, this is not there. So now the stack becomes only these two elements. Again, for fifth character, which is the opening curly brace, we will append it on top of the stack. For the sixth character, which is closing curly brace, we will again go here. We will check if the top character is this, which is popped out element. And if the character is not closing braces, but for our case, that is the closing brace, so we won't do anything else. Again, the closing round bracket is getting popped out. So that is the current character. And this will be popped out. And from line number 16, we will check if the character is not equal to closing brace. But this is the case, so we will do nothing. And again, for the last case also, when we are encountering this character, closing square bracket, and we are popping out the opening square bracket, what we are checking, if the top character is opening square bracket and the character is not of closing bracket, then only return false. But this is again not the case, so we are not doing anything here. So then when we came out, we are checking if stack is not empty, which is false, so that's why we are returning true. Because sometimes what might happen is, suppose there is one example, like this is the example, opening opening square bracket and opening and closing circular bracket. At that time, stack will not be empty. There will be one character on the top of stack. So that time also we have to return false. So in this way, this program will work. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me here.
So instead of nested if statement, we can use AND operator because we are not doing anything if the statement is not met the condition.
And where is that? On which line you're talking about?
16.
For example, in line number 16,
Yeah, 16, 17.
we can write. Yeah, in line number 16, we can write if top character equal round bracket and yes,
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sir, similar type of program was asked in, I think, in week 2 assignment.
Okay.
Yes, for the brackets.
Yes, in that there are some characters are also there between alphabets also, and we have to match the brackets.
Okay.
Sir, here if we do this way, see we here we have three types of brackets: close bracket, open bracket, and curly bracket.
Okay.
So we count the left brackets and right brackets for each three cases. So if the left count of left should be always greater than or equal to count of right.
Okay.
Once count of left becomes smaller than count of right, then it will be false.
Yeah, correct.
We travel through that string
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
just count.
Yeah, similarly, I mean, the thing is, you can solve it with that way also, because we are just passing the string and you are taking
Yes.
it as a character only. So you can use another logic also. But just to make
Okay.
sure we are sticking to stacks and queues, I'm telling about the solution which uses stacks.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
sir.
this week there are no programming assignment, I guess. So just to make sure that you know how to work with stack and queues, I am using these examples. So yes, whatever you are talking about is perfectly fine. That will also work.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
the practical utility of such kind of checking of the expressions is for some mathematical expressions, right? So
Yes, for
for
arithmetic
actually, I mean, checking the correctness of some mathematical expression, there would be some either digits or some operands in between this parenthesis. So how can we deal with that?
Can you give me an example?
Like this parenthesis and all, like a plus b, then a curly braces, and then I mean like this c plus d, c minus d, whatever. So there could be in between the mathematical digits also, na? So how can we deal with that?
You are talking about this.
Yeah, because in a state we are not taking care of this a b c d and such these operands.
Yeah, but I mean, that is not the problem statement. We just want to check if the parentheses are balanced or not. So there will be no characters except this parenthesis, except this braces.
Yeah, but sir, in the expression which you have given in line 6, actually, in practical, it doesn't exist. Na, sir. We use it for enclosing some expressions. Na?
Definitely, yes. I mean, that is not, I understand your problem. That is definitely not used in practical situations. But just to, I mean, tell you how stack works, how we can use different examples and how we can use stack to solve
Got
such
it, sir.
examples. I mean, this is just
Got
the
it,
basic
sir.
data structure problem. I mean, this is definitely not used in
Okay,
practical things. Yes.
I understood, sir. Thank you.
Sir, this
In that
program
case, we
can be
can just
easily
stick
made
to
into sir, this
yeah.
program can be easily made into real-time use of stacks, no sir. Just like if we put a instead of else, we put a else if and we put a character in close bracket list means we can evaluate expressions like
Yeah, for this prefix and infix also. So suppose one more example. So previous example was prefix to infix. So suppose if this is given as the input and we have to convert it from infix to prefix, there is again one more algorithm which do this and uses stacks only. So there also the knowledge of this matching parenthesis is definitely used. And I mean, I would like to give that as an homework example and I would like you to try this, wherein the knowledge of this balanced parenthesis plus how to use the new algorithm of converting infix into prefix will be definitely used. So for our example, it was prefix to infix, but for the homework example, I would like you to try infix to prefix. Therein this will be definitely used.
sir, I'm telling that in we are using no sir in line 12. In line 12, instead of else, we put else if and character in list of closer brackets. That means we can only we can easily evaluate normal infix expressions.
Yeah,
That is
definitely.
balanced or not.
Yes. This nested loops we can definitely use. Yes. So considering the time constraint, I'll not talk about the solution of this last example, but I'll give this as an example and I'll explain like how to do it. I'll explain just the algorithm and I would be very happy if you could be able to write the code for this example. So the program is to print the next greater element in array. So consider this example 4, 2, 5, 6. So when we evaluate it from left to right, the first element is 4. And which is the next greater element to 4 in this array? That is 5. That's why the first element in the output is 5. For 2 also, the next greater element is 5. That's why the second output element is also 5. For 5, the next greater element is 6. So we will be outputting 6 as the output here in output array. And for 6, there is no next greater element in the array. That's why we are using -1. For second case, suppose the first element is 20 and there is no element greater than 20. The next greater element, there is no next greater element in the array. That's why for 20 it is -1. For 1 it is 2. For 2 it is 13. Again for 13 it is -1. So one common thing here is for the last element, the output will be -1 only because there is no next greater element. So is the problem statement clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So can anybody tell me how can we solve it? Forget about
We can
stacks.
use 2 pointers.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Tell me.
So first pointer will be on the current number that we're dealing with, and the next pointer will traverse through the rest of the elements ahead of it, and we will find if any greater element is there. If no greater element is found, then we will return -1.
Sure. So what will be the complexity of this algorithm? What will be the time complexity of this algorithm?
N square. O N square.
Yeah, so that will be big O of n square. So now, when we solve this problem using stack, the complexity will be only order of n. And for large list, this stack will be very useful here. So can anybody think of solution here? How can we do it? using stacks.
Yeah, just to take it, declare um, a stack, then just push the first, take the first number and then check for the next highest one. Then if you got it, then just append it to that stack. This can be repeated for the next days.
Yeah. So first thing is what we will do. Every time we have to push the first element. So for our example, for our input example, what we will do, initially we will be pushing the first element on this stack and we'll start from the second element. So the first step in the algorithm will be, we will check, we have to pop this element, we have to check if this element that is on the stack is less than the current element. So for our input, the current element will be 2. If that is not the case, so if the top of stack, that is 4, is less than the element, then we have to pop that element from the stack and print that element. But now in our case, the top of the stack is greater than the current element, which is 2. So at that time what we will do, we will push 2 also in the stack. Now for the third case, when this element is encountered, 5 is encountered for example, so what we will check, the top of the stack, that is 2 is less than 5. So what we have to do, we have to traverse till the time we are not finding any element greater than 5. So what we will do, we will pop these 2 element, and in the output stack we will print 5 and 5. That means for both 4 and 2 the output will be 5 and 5. And now after popping this, we will push 5 into the stack. For the next element, that is 6, we will check if 5 is less than 6. If this is true, we will pop 5 from the stack and we will print 6 as the output here. And then we will push 6 in the stack. And when we have reached to the end of the list, we will just append -1 in the output. So talking about second example, suppose second example is just equal to, suppose this is the example. So here what we will do, first thing is push the first element on the stack and start from second element. Now 13 is encountered. What we will do, we will pop 11. We will pop 11 because top of the stack is less than the current element, that is 13. When we pop this, we print 13 here, and this is popped, and then we input 13 into the stack. Then we go to next element, that is 15. We will check if top is less than the current element, which is again true. So we will pop this, we will print the current element here, and we will push the current element in the stack. Now for the last element, that is 1. So 15 is not less than 1. So at that time what we will do, we will push the current element here. And now as we have reached to the end of the list, what we will do, we will pop these 2 elements and then we will mention -1 and -1, because for 15 also there is no next greater element, and for 1 also there is no next greater element. That's why this is the output. So in this example what we are doing, we are just traversing ones. That means the time complexity will be order of 1. And like, I will be very happy if you will be able to write the code for this example. And this was the last example for the day. So if you have any doubts in this example, you can ask me.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, like in this 11th line, that 11, 13, 15, 1.
Yeah.
So the 50, like that is not larger than an element 15, right, sir? So automatically we can use -1, sir. Why there is any necessary to also include 1 and then return -1 and -1?
So like when you're on this line, when you're traversing that list, you don't know what elements will come to the right of the list because the index is 2 at that case. So it can be 16 here also. Just by looking at the example, you know what is the next greater element, but your program will not know. So that's why you have to push this onto the top of the stack till the time you didn't find the next greater element.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Sir, in line number 11, in place of 13, if there was 16, then our output would be something like 16 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1, right?
Yes, 16 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1. Yes, perfect.
Okay,
And if the entire list is descending order, then the entire output will be minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 and minus 1. Because there is no next greater element. The program asks to find the next greater element.
Strictly greater, right?
Yeah, strictly.
Okay.
And why we are using the word next greater? Because we have to find the first greater element. If the list is 4, 5, 6, then for 4 you have to write 5, not 6. Because the next greater element to 4 is 5 in the list.
Got it.
So if we are...
One more example, sir.
Yes, tell me.
In that, for that one only, if we take suppose 16, 13, 11 and 18.
Yeah, so for all of this, the output will be 18, 18, 18 and minus 1. Because next greater element to 16 is 18 only. Next greater element to 13 is 18
We will be
only.
going till last, right? From 16 we will be going till last. We'll be pushing all the elements into it.
Yes, so
into
what
the
we
stack,
will be
right,
doing
till
in the
where-
stack, what we will be doing, the first element will be 16. That is correct. When we are at 13, we will check if top is less than 13. That is 16 less than 13? No. So what we will do? We will push 13 on the stack. For the third element, 11.
Yes.
And the top of stack is 13. If 13 is greater than 11, then push 11 also. But now when 18 is encountered, so in this case, what you will do, you have to pop till those elements which are less than 18. So you will pop these 3 elements and the output will be 18, 18 and 18. Yes.
And
then
finally put 18 and put minus
when
1.
you have reached to the last of the stack, then it will be minus 1. So again, one more
Excuse
example.
me, sir.
Yes, tell me.
So my question must be very basic. Actually, I have been for the first time attending this problem solving session.
No, that's okay.
Actually, I was wondering, you are writing, I mean, you are using editor window as a different window and you are compiling the program in some different window. May I know how you are doing this? Yes, sir.
So this is the Python editor, Python that we have installed in our system. So this is the Python command line prompt that we are using. So for the week 1 lectures, the professor has taught about like how to download and install Python. And when you install Python in your system, so let me just tell you, when you come out, you just have to write Python, and when you get in, you will get into this
Yes.
Python compiler. Yes.
Yeah, that window I always get, but I do not get the other window in which you are like you are using as an text editing kind of. Yes.
So I mean, this text you can write anywhere in Notepad, Notepad++. I am using Sublime Text, one of the text editors.
Okay.
Just to
Actually,
explain, I am
sir, what
writing it here.
happened earlier, I had joined some other course of this Python, and the instructor had given some other instructions to install. So I have somehow two kind of things installed together. So nowadays, what I do, if I have to like write a code and then compile it, then I like python.py extension I am having with the file, and then I go on a right click and then edit with IDLE. Then only I am able to open a window in which I can write the code, and then when I run it, then a separate window opens. So I was a bit confused that because I am having 2-3 things installed together.
Okay. Which operating system do you use?
Windows 10 it is.
Okay, so there might be two different versions of Python that you might have installed.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm a bit confused now that what to remove, because if I remove something and unintentionally, if something which was important for my own version gets removed, then I will have to go with the installation process once again. So I was a bit confused. Yeah.
Yeah, so the another thing is you can write your code in Notepad only, save it as py
Okay,
file, and then run using
okay,
Python space the name of that file.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, sir.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if we don't have any more doubts, I can close the session for today.
Sir, I had one more doubt, please.
Yes, yes, yes.
Actually, I wanted to know about, I mean, how can I get that, I mean, if can I get the recording of the problem solving session of week 5, because I was not able to attend that, and I have many questions, many queries pertaining to that particular week, like directory and
Okay.
tuple and
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah. So I've shared my
So,
YouTube playlist also. I'll share it once again after I stop
okay,
recording this session. I'll share it on the chat just now.
okay.
Sure.
So previous session also was conducted by you only, sir?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is another TA also that works on this Python.
Okay.
So there will be
Yeah, yeah.
different playlists created. But I'll share
At
my
least in the
playlist.
last week's programming question assignment also, like there was a problem on that some tennis games and sets of different players games were there. So
Yeah.
doing that was bit problematic for me, because I have not understood how to exactly use these directories and tuples. These definitions basically I have not, I mean, I have not understood properly.
Okay. So you can do
So
one thing. You can go through my playlist, YouTube playlist, and you can try that solution
okay,
once again. So if any
okay,
of you,
okay,
any of the students are not getting any of the programming week solution, but you can ask me about the solution only after the deadline has passed, because we are not eligible to give you the solutions directly. But after the deadline, you can discuss the solutions also.
and sir, before the deadline is gone, if I want to just understand the way, I am not asking for the complete solution, just a kind of help in like defining something, some variable or some kind of directory or list, that can be done, right, sir?
What we can do, the max we can do is explain you what the problem is all about. But we
Okay,
cannot help you with the solution before the deadline. I mean, that is the
okay,
protocol that we have to
okay,
follow.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
I have one doubt.
Yes.
So during the actual exam, sir,
Mm-hmm.
uh, do we need to type the program in the notepad and then run by using the Python command, or do they give any ideally matlab, that environment do they provide for writing the program, sir?
So as far as I know about this thing, so there will be online compilers, online editors. But I guess
Okay.
before the examination, every rules and regulations will be shared by our professor.
Sir, like in the assignment,
Yeah, like in the assignment. Yes, yes, yes.
weekly assignment, sir,
Yeah, yeah.
there is a provision for compiling and running and checking whether the solution is coming to be appropriate or not. Such kind of provision will be there in the exam also.
I'm not sure, but I guess that should be there. The online editors and online compilers should be there.
Because debugging can be done only after getting some error, and there might be some small mistakes because of which we are not able to get the solution. So we should be able to debug it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like as far as I know, that should be there, but these things will be
Okay,
cleared by a professor.
sure, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much,
So
Aditi.
one more thing,
Yeah.
sir. Last week, this previous week's assignment that TTs, that week I couldn't get only, sir. That program was bit difficult.
You didn't
That
understand the
input
problem
only
statement?
I was not able to understand, sir.
Exactly the same problem I also face, sir.
Input. Leave about trying for the program. That concept, that input reading only I couldn't get it, sir. So in the next class somewhere, can you give little bit hints regarding that, sir, so that we can try.
Okay,
Of
okay.
course, the deadline is over, but at least to get the knowledge regarding that program.
Yeah, yeah. Like for the last week, I have covered how to take the input, how to read the files, You can watch that
Yeah.
video also, and I'll also
Yeah,
share it
sir,
next
I
week.
have attended that.
Okay.
It's very easy to open the file, read the file, write to the file. That problems, what you have discussed there, we understood, sir.
Okay.
But the specific problem is too lengthy. The concept itself is, for me, it was a bit higher end, sir. For me, I
Okay,
don't
okay,
know
no
about
issues.
other.
What I'll try to do after the deadline, I'll try to provide the solution for that problem. And with the next week, I'll cover this input statements also.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me stop sharing.